Welcome, welcome everybody to this session of Smart City Expo on sustainable and energy efficient urban strategies. I'm very glad to be here today, and I thank you very much for your participation in the panel and for you attending this session. My name is Luigi Carafa. I'm Executive Director of Climate Infrastructure Partnership, and I would like to start this session with a warm-up question to the panel. I want to very briefly introduce, the challenges that we have ahead in terms of infrastructure projects in cities and urban areas. So we see that cities consume more than 2/3 of the world energy. They also generate more than 70% of CO2 emissions. And if we look at where are urban areas placed, we see that 90% of urban areas are placed on the coastlines, so they are also very at risk, for the impacts of climate change, like rising sea levels and other meteorological extreme weather events. So what I would like to stress here is that, if we look at the challenges in terms of infrastructure investment, we see that every year the world is investing more than $3 trillion in infrastructure investments, both high carbon and low carbon infrastructure investments. Whereas for the world to stay below 2 Celsius degree, the new climate economy suggests that the world should invest more than $6.2 trillion into sustainable infrastructure projects. Of course, as you can imagine, a big part of these investments has to go and has to happen in cities. So my question to the panel here is, how your organization stand, against these huge challenges in terms of infrastructure investments that we have had. And I just would like to have very quick answer, like 1 to 2 minutes for each person. So I think we start from Annie, ladies first, and then we go from right to the left. There is another micro there. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon. So I'm Annie Cheyenne. I'm working for Nexans Group. Nexans is a world leader of cable industry, so we are really invested in the development, in supporting the development of the energy transition. The topic I will address today, it's dedicated to the deployment of new service of mobilities in cities, like car sharing, carpooling, and specifically inside rural and peri-urban area of the cities.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Pathare, and I'm from ENGIE. It's a French firm. You may have heard of it in the past by its old name, GDF Suez, or Gaz de France Suez. So ENGIE is the new name of the company since last year. ENGIE is being driven now, even though it has a heritage in the energy sector, it's being driven now increasingly towards the confluence or the convergence of different industries. So when you speak of the challenges of urbanization, now you don't just see it as an energy challenge, you don't just see it as a mobility challenge or a water and waste challenge. You see an integrated set of challenges. And what ENGIE does in its propositions for cities is to adapt itself to the infrastructure and the services needs of each city in order to make sure that the solutions are sustainable. And the solutions we look at, we cover energy, but also mobility, district heating and cooling, public lighting, video surveillance and security, and of course, the whole realm of connectivity, which brings all of these, which drives the process of digitalization of cities and brings all these businesses together. So I will be speaking a little bit about this in my talk. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ignacio Martin from IFSIS Industrial. I'm Industrial Solutions Director at IFSIS Industrial, which is a sister company of IFSIS Group. IFSIS Group is a services to citizens company, and as a services company, we would like to focus on 3 elements regarding efficiency on cities, which are investment on new installations with a more efficient characteristics, as it might be LEDs, for example. I would like to focus too on sensorization of those new installations, because we can obtain a lot of information from those new elements, more efficient elements, to make decisions about the maintenance of those elements and with a more efficient performance. And finally, we have to communicate and to be transparent with the citizens about how the installations that we are maintaining and we are providing to the citizens are at any moment during their life.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Yousef Baselaib. I am the Executive Director of Masdar City. Today we're going to address what's the challenge we face in the last 10 years to develop Masdar City, from the cost, smartness, as well as affordability. So today I will give you some brief on how we define the sustainability in our region, because in our region it's maybe different than any other regions due to the weather conditions, due to the our population understanding of sustainability. So I'm going to address this today, inshallah.
Sí, buenos días. Good morning. Soy Francisco de la Torre, alcalde de Málaga. Y en resumen, en estos últimos años, 10 años sobre todo, después de la firma del Pacto de Alcaldes en Bruselas, que nos comprometimos a esa reducción del consumo de energía del 20%, de reducción de la emisión de CO2 también del 20%, hemos ahora ampliado esos compromisos con los nuevos pactos y acuerdos que ustedes conocen, pues hemos trabajado y seguiremos trabajando en modernizar el transporte público, ir avanzando en más vehículos híbridos, pasar a los autobuses eléctricos cuando sean operativos. Tenemos proyectos Smart City, luego lo desarrollaré, sobre el tema del transporte público en autobuses eléctricos. Aplicación de las TIC para que sea más cómodo la utilización del transporte público. Crecer, por tanto, en clientes, más en transporte público, menos en el privado. Aplicación también de las TIC en el consumo eléctrico, contadores inteligentes. Aplicación de las TIC en el consumo de agua para reducción del consumo y localizar las fugas. El agua consume energía, todo lo que es abastecimiento, depuración de agua, un gran consumo de energía, de esa forma ahorramos energía. Implantación del coche eléctrico, ayudar a ello, tenemos proyectos que ahora explicaremos también. En definitiva, todo un programa con la Agenda 21 que trata de colaborar desde la ciudad de Málaga, una ciudad de 600.000 habitantes, al gran reto que tiene la humanidad de controlar el cambio climático.
Thank you very much, everybody. You've been very quick. That's perfect. Now we are moving into some very short presentations from the panel. So I think we can start from Francisco. Please, Francisco, you have the floor. We try to keep it to 8 to 10 minutes each, and then so we can move to the Q&A session. Oh, sí. Sí.
Bien, tenemos ahí la ciudad de Málaga, en perspectiva de la misma. Como decía, es una ciudad de 600.000 habitantes, 3.000 años de historias, un área metropolitana de 1.250.000 habitantes, centro histórico rehabilitado, peatonalizado. Es una manera de animar a dejar el coche, a utilizar el transporte público e ir a pie. Una ciudad bien conectada por avión, alta velocidad, con capacidad, por tanto, de conectarse con el mundo, que ha hecho una gran apuesta por la cultura en los últimos años. Hemos crecido en la oferta museística, Picasso, Thyssen, el Pompidou de París tiene un centro fuera de Francia, el primero en Málaga, el Museo de Arte Ruso San Petersburgo y el Centro Contemporáneo de Málaga, que es importante, ¿no? Es una idea que tiene una serie de planes, plan estratégico, el Pacto de Alcaldes, plan general, en definitiva, la Agenda 21, una serie de estrategias, la que se deduce del Pacto de Alcaldes para el ahorro energético, para ir avanzando en esa línea. De hecho, en estos años, bien es verdad que la crisis ha ayudado, hemos tenido una reducción fuerte en el consumo de energía. Ahí está distribuido en el transporte, el sector transporte tanto público como privado, administración pública, donde está el tema del ahorro energético. Hemos sido muy proactivos con reductores de flujo y hemos reducido fuertemente la factura eléctrica. Y estamos implantando LED, en torno a un 20% más o menos de LED implantado en el conjunto del sistema eléctrico municipal. Sectores de servicio y residencial complementan esa gráfica. Y ahí está la emisión de CO2, que lógicamente va en paralelo disminuyendo. Como veis, los últimos años la reactivación económica hace que frenemos ahí. Habrá que ser más proactivos y jugar un papel de liderazgo con las ciudades. Forética de ayer fue interesante, y comprometer más los vecinos, todos ellos en ese gran reto. Se trata en definitiva de ir creando herramientas para conseguir que, por ejemplo, la planificación urbana más densa, como es la mediterránea, el programa CATMED, que está ahí sintetizado con otra serie de ciudades que están ahí en el arco mediterráneo, Málaga, Valencia, Barcelona, Sevilla, la costa de Francia, de Italia y de Grecia, defendiendo que ese tipo de urbanización es mejor que el residencial extensivo para el ahorro energético. En el caso de Málaga, como veis, tenemos un centro de unas 40 hectáreas que prácticamente peatonalizado al 100%. Para entrar ahí hay que tener un permiso especial, residir ahí o ir a algunos servicios sanitarios especiales que puedan haber, ¿no? En la parte más abajo, luego hablaremos de ello, desde el sur hacia el puerto, el Soho, es otra zona interesante. Un ejemplo de cómo las calles, es pena que la anterior, la fotografía antigua, que es la que está a mi izquierda, que es vuestra izquierda también, la de allá, no tiene coches, pero era de tráfico, ¿no? A la derecha está con peatones y con una forma de integración diferente. Igual el puerto ha tenido un proceso de cambio. Importante es el puerto antes, imágenes del año 2010, antes de la transformación. Normal, un puerto conviviendo con la ciudad, pero hemos creado un espacio de convivencia más grato, un espacio incorporado a la ciudad, el muelle 1, el que está a vuestra izquierda, el muelle 2 a la derecha, y el centro Pompidou, justamente ese cubo de colores que es el símbolo del mismo. Ahí hay 7.000 metros cuadrados dedicados al arte moderno y contemporáneo de la mano del centro Pompidou de París. Soho Málaga, el espacio más cercano al puerto, al sur del centro histórico. Varias calles se peatonalizan, se trata de poner iluminación LED en actividad, se trata de ir creando un barrio dedicado a la cultura manifestada en estos murales de Face y Obey, dos grandes magníficos muralistas grafiteros que lo han hecho gratis en Málaga y que dan una buena imagen de ciudad en vanguardia en el arte. Una serie de acciones para culturizar, acostumbrar a la gente a la energía renovable. Una serie de placas fotovoltaicas instaladas en colegios, en el Palacio de Ferias, en definitiva la generación por biogás de todo el sistema de residuos, tanto sólidos como de aguas, y proyectos de Smart City, que la ciudad está muy en vanguardia, son decenas y decenas de proyectos. Este es de mano de Endesa para redes inteligentes, Smart Grid y contadores inteligentes, y la microgeneración distribuida, tanto eólica como fotovoltaica. Un proyecto de vehículos eléctricos con el gobierno japonés, el gobierno español, Centuol, que duró los años 13, 14 y 15, que tuvo más de 200 vehículos eléctricos moviéndose por la ciudad, con puntos de recarga rápida, que siguen funcionando. El Ayuntamiento se ha hecho cargo de los mismos y los vehículos siguen estando en la ciudad. Hacemos ventajas fiscales que están en nuestras manos para incrementar el uso del vehículo eléctrico, facilidades para aparcamiento, tratar en definitiva de hacerlo más popular y de hacerlo más interesante. Para eso hace falta que la red de recarga rápida sea no solamente en la ciudad, sino también en la provincia, en la costa, que ya la tenemos en Fuengirola y Marbella, y también en la red de ciudades de Andalucía, para que la gente, los taxis, etcétera, se animen a usarlo. El programa Efficiency trata de, justamente con otras ciudades y otros países, de ir en la línea de facilitar el despliegue y el uso de energía de una manera flexible y adaptada, utilizando redes inteligentes, ¿no? Es lo que se trata también, en definitiva, queridos amigos, de mover con otros proyectos como el Autodrive, que no está ahí explicado en gráficas, pero que va en la dirección de fomentar, en el caso nuestro, el uso del autobús eléctrico sin conductor, en un programa que se desarrolla justamente en el puerto de Málaga. Puedo contar también como anécdota, importante, que tenemos un espacio acotado en el Parque Tecnológico de Málaga, que es una de las fuerzas que tiene la ciudad, para el experimento, digamos, la experiencia de vehículos autónomos, llevados de la mano de la empresa Dekra, alemana, y le hemos dado un espacio para que pueda desarrollarse esta experiencia, ¿no? Igualmente, mencionaría los contadores de agua, contadores inteligentes de agua, que tenemos ahora mismo unos 50.000 en la ciudad. Queremos llegar al total, a 220.000, y que nos permitirán, hablaba de esto anteriormente con rapidez, el poder, digamos, contar, no sé cuál vale mi tiempo, de la izquierda o de la derecha. To left o to right? To left. Bien, poder en definitiva disminuir el consumo eléctrico, porque estamos exactamente en una cifra importante de gigavatios hora, los que casi equivalente al consumo eléctrico en la iluminación. Somos el segundo consumidor, EMASA, la empresa de agua, detrás de Financiera y Minera, una empresa cementera que lógicamente consume agua en cantidad. En definitiva, Málaga es una ciudad que trata de, con la innovación y con la aplicación de las TIC, dar respuesta en todo el abanico de opciones a el reto que tenemos del cambio climático. Lo de los coches eléctricos es un programa que justamente tiene un ordenador y permitía a la gente saber dónde estaba el punto de recarga rápido libre más cercano, para poder ir y cargar en 3 minutos pues la mitad de la batería, o poco más de la batería en poco más tiempo. Estoy encantado de compartir este panel con los demás ponentes y seguro que aquí aprenderé mucho de vosotros, ilustres amigos, y sobre todo de esta gran ciudad, que me decía que es barato. Decía, esa experiencia de ciudad ecológica debe ser muy cara. Dice, no, es barata, ahora lo escucharemos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Francisco. Very efficient, very efficient. So now from Malaga, we move to Abu Dhabi. And Yousef, please, you have the floor. We really look forward to listening to your experiences in
Thank you very
Abu
much.
Dhabi and
Thank you, Francis, for your presentation. The difference between me and my colleague that he is dealing with an old city, we are dealing with a new city. So our chances to develop the city is, it looks like it's easy. We are starting from scratch. Masdar city is a 6 kilometer square. So we have to develop it from zero till where we want to take it. It is 6 kilometers square. It is a city inside the city. So we have to integrate ourselves with the city of Abu Dhabi. Where is it? Next to Abu Dhabi airport. So we started the initiative in 2006. And as we are from a heavy petrochemical country, that we got a lot of accused by our colleagues in other areas, that how come you are investing in the renewable energy while you are oil exporters. So the vision was there from our leadership that we have to be ready to celebrate the last barrel of oil we export. So that's why we start with the Masdar City initiative and Masdar in Global. Today we have more than 2 gigawatt of clean energy around the world. So we are in Europe, in Asia, we are in Morocco, we are in South America. We are everywhere today. So Masdar City was established to cater for a few things. That the most important for us is the energy efficiency. So we take care during the master plan on the 3 pillars, which is the sustainable economy, sustainable environment, and the sustainable social. So these 3 pillars need to be integrated in one city to come up with our initiative. So one of the things which differentiate our area from, let's say, Europe, that 60% of our power consumption go to the cooling. So cooling is one of the main elements where we started to look into when we start to develop our Masdar city. So the energy efficiency is the most important things for us. So we make a lot of pilot tests in the region, and we found out that if we use our own material from our own desert, that we create the best insulation for our buildings. So we started with the facade, which is made of the 100% of the sand from the UAE, stones from the UAE, as well as the design of the city. It's look like the old cities where the street is very narrow, where the airflow can be in the city, and we start to shade each building to shade each other. So that's the main element. The second things we focus on, that it's not only a sustainable city, but it could be affordable. So there's no use to build the city where nobody can live in it because it's expensive. So that's why today, after 10 years of our research and development, we are competing with any conventional building with the high standard of the sustainability. So all our building is LEED Platinum and the standard of the international standards. And we are around 40% less power consumptions, plus we are more than 35% water consumption. So this is put us in the map of to compete with, and we are raising the bar high. On the other side also, we are attracting new companies, new ideas. We create a fund to support those SMEs and the entrepreneur, where we take their ideas and we transfer it into a real product, and we fund it totally. To complement all this city, we strike a collaboration between Masdar and MIT, where we launch our Masdar Institute. It's fully subsidized by the government. We have students from all over the world. Their job is just to do R&D, and it's for the postgraduate for and PhD. So today we have more than of 100 IPs. We register them, and we are in cooperation with many companies and technology. If you will ask me why it took us 10 years, that I can't tell that the technology was not there to cater for our ambitions. So, and if it was there, it was very expensive, and it's not affordable for the public. And in Masdar City, we start to look into the transportation. So we are the first city in the world to implement the autonomy cars. It's been implemented for the last 8 years, and we transport more than 2.5 million passengers today. And by January next year, we're going to announce the new technology we're going to use on the autonomy cars. So transportation is the major things in Masdar. So we believe that by the time you live in Masdar City, you don't need to use your own transportation internally, because it's walkable. We provide you with all kind of transportation. It's all electrical. And today the Masdar City is fully powered by the first 10 megawatt plant. We built this one in 2010, and it was the biggest plant in the region. And with the cost of that plant, we could build today 4 plants. So we could build 40 megawatt PV plant. That what show you that the technology is become affordable, cheaper. PV is cheaper. Masdar break the record in the last month with we won the first tender at 1.7 cent from the PV. So that's why the PV become now a very competitive technology to implement. And I'm here to answer any of your question. I'm open. I can give you my experience and where we are and what we are looking for. Thank you.
You can keep the mic. You can keep the mic. You just put it off. Thank you very much, Yousef. Definitely, what you are doing at Masdar City is really something to look at, and it's super interesting to see how you experiment and how you find different solutions. And yeah, I look forward also to add my question to the others to the panel. So with further ado, now I give the floor to Ignacio from FCC Industrial. So please, Ignacio, you have the floor. Feel free to stay here or move there. It's very interesting what you said about local manufacturing. Local manufacturing. Yeah. This can bring down the costs.
And this reduces the CO2 emission for transportation. So we calculate.
Excellent. No, I think, might be. We have some technological problems. So you see technology as always, to advance, but I think we are ready now. Yeah, good. So please, Ignacio, you have the floor.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be here with all of you, with my colleagues in this panel. And I'll start, okay? So, most of city councils are concerned with one of the main topics nowadays, which is efficiency and its relation with sustainability. As a services company, we are working in several projects around Spain, taking into account these topics. And what we want to share with you today is a project that we are working on in Madrid, together with 2 other companies that are present here in this Congress. We are working, it is Industrial, Ferrovial Services, and Indra in this project, regarding the public installations in the east side of Madrid, and mainly on public lighting, traffic lights, and public installations. So when we started this project and we tried to analyze the elements of a smart city that we are going to work on with, we find out that we are going to work with smart energy because we are working with public lighting. We are going to work with smart mobility because in a big city as Madrid, this is one of the main topics to work on. We were going to work with smart infrastructures, mainly in this project with the utility galleries in Madrid. And finally, we have a smart government because all this information has to be sent and has to be shared with the citizens. And there's a platform developed by the City Council of Madrid named MINT, which is the platform to connect our work with citizens. So starting by the first of these elements, smart energy, I would like to share with you that we have 92,000 lighting points in the area we were working on, and what we did was we changed 33,700 lighting points to LED. We also changed lamp and ballast in 28,000 lighting points, in which we did also an adjustment of power, an adjustment of the power of those elements. And we installed 1,200 controllers on the lighting box to have monitorized all these elements, and we send all that information to a centralized control system in order to, first of all, have the information of those controllers, but also to be able to know if we have any fault on the lines, on the supply lines, on the electrical supply lines of the lighting points. What have we obtained with this investment we did in the first year? Well, we had a reduction on CO2 emissions. We have also a reduction on light pollution because we reduced the FHS factor of all the lighting points, but also we have less reflection effect on the pavement due to the less power installed, and we have a low photobiological risk. Well, this is a main issue when we talk about LEDs, but our LEDs, the LEDs that we have installed, has a risk of 0 regarding the exposure, the time exposure to blue light. We have also reduced the energy bill. Well, when we started this project, we had 80 million kilowatts per hour of yearly consumption, and nowadays we have 38 million kilowatts per hour of yearly consumption, which means we have a reduction of 52.5% in the energy consumption of the area that we are maintaining. And finally, we have a reduction on faults. Due to the less power installed, we have less intensity through our cables, less losses due to the Joule effect, and finally we have less required cables. So we find out that we have less faults on our installation. If we move on to the second point of the smart city in which we are working, we have a small mobility. The M30. The M30 is a ring road of Madrid with a length of 32 kilometers and an average daily traffic intensity of 171,400 vehicles, and some areas with 325,000 vehicles per day. Is the highest traffic intensity road in Spain. What we have done there is that we have installed an important number of sensors, and we are working on 80 variable signaling panels in which we have implemented an automatic algorithm that, in an autonomous way, can give information to drivers such as velocity recommendations, depending on the traffic intensity. They can give advice of danger areas due to crossings and accidents. They can also propose alternative routes depending on the traffic queue in some exits, and finally can give information of the time to several exits depending on the traffic intensity at each moment. What else have we done regarding smart mobility? Well, all the traffic lights in our area. Well, here you can see some figures of the investment that we've done, but I would like to focus on the 270 controllers in adaptive system. All of these controllers are programmed depending on cycle, cycle distribution and gap. But in those 270 controllers in adaptive system, what we have done is that we have implemented and software that allows us, depending on the sensors that we have installed, to continuously improve those three factors, cycle, distribution, and gap, in those traffic installations. The third point of our smart city project is smart infrastructures. We have rehabilitated the 156 kilometers of utility galleries in Madrid, which has an average visitors of 30,000 workers per year. Well, what we have done is that we have renewed 520 cameras. We have installed 4,500 detectors, CO2 detectors and fire detectors, 220 SOS, and 220 access controls. But all of these elements are connected to an SCADA that allows us to take all the information from those sensors and to manage them, and also to connect ones to others. For example, if there's someone entering into the gallery, well, the camera, the nearest camera to the access, is going to start recording at a velocity of 24 frames instead of the 4 frames that is usual, but also the CO2 detectors will reduce their level to the maximum human level permitted. Finally, smart government. All the information that we are taking from our sensors, from our elements, from the services that we are providing, has to be sent to a platform developed by the City Council of Madrid, which is called MINT, Madrid Inteligente. And with that information, the City Council can make decisions about the services that we provide, but can communicate with the citizens. And in a cycle, in a total transparency policy, those citizens can communicate with the City Council, making their proposals or their opinion about the services that we provide. So City Council can also communicate them to us and allows us to improve the services that we are providing. Well, as a conclusion, I would like to mention that in our project, we are in contact, as I mentioned before, with 3 main lines of work, which are renovation of all the installations in the city, but also with the installation of sensor on those new elements, so we can take the information that they are providing to us at each moment, manage that information to give a better service to the citizens, and be completely informed. This is something that is just in our new smart city definition called IoT. IoT is something that is coming, and we are now applying this in our projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. Very interesting. I also have another question then for you later. And now we move to Amit. Amit, please, you have the floor.
Yes, one moment.
Well, maybe while we are waiting, I can start introducing myself. No, is it okay?
What's your...
Mine is this one.
Vale.
And I'll go ahead with. Well, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Amit Pathare. I'm the director of new solutions in ENGIE, and I head the cities program in ENGIE globally. So let me give you a brief introduction about ENGIE. Now, ENGIE, you've already known as GDF Suez in a past life, and we are moving increasingly beyond energy across several different sectors. Now, what's propelling ENGIE? There are three main drivers which are leading to a transformation of ENGIE, and we are simply mirroring the transformation of the world. These three drivers are decarbonization, meaning a greater focus on renewable energies; decentralization, meaning that you can't rely just on centralized solutions. You have also got to move towards more decentralized solutions, or solutions that are closer to your customers. And the last one is digitalization, because all of your solutions are becoming heavily data intensive. And it means that, all the decisions that are made by our businesses are heavily data dependent, and therefore we need to synchronize our decisions with the right inputs coming from each of our businesses in an integrated fashion. So these are the three main drivers behind our businesses, and this is what is helping us become the architects of the energy revolution. Why the focus on cities? So as was just mentioned in previous introductions, so cities may comprise 2% of the world area, but they comprise already 50% of the world population, and that percentage is growing. They consume 75% of the energy consumption, and they're responsible for 80% of the greenhouse gases. So if you manage the problems in cities, you are already a long way towards making the world as a whole sustainable. And that's why ENGIE is focusing a lot on cities. Now, what are the challenges that cities face? Now, cities can't just think in terms of energy challenges or mobility challenges. So if you're a mayor, you really want to think of challenges in an integrated fashion. And if you're a citizen, you don't care so much about the terms energy, mobility, or water and waste. What you care about is having a safe and secure city, having a fluid and green transportation options to your work, to your home, to different parts of your activities. You want to make sure that you're living in an enjoyable environment, that you are living an attractive lifestyle, where you have some some green spaces for your kids to play in. And you want to have your experience of life in a way that it's affordable. So when we think of cities, we start thinking from the perspective of the citizen, the perspective of the mayors and administrators of the cities, and then we adapt our offer to what each city needs. And what does each city need? So each city comes with its own branding, if you may say. Every city has its own needs and priorities. So some cities focus on themselves as the sustainable cities. Some focus on themselves as being the connected cities. Others speak of themselves as cultural cities, or cities which can be cities which have a thriving business climate. And it's not either or, it's usually a mix of the above. So each city finds its own balance. So what we do in ENGIE is, we first start by listening to a city, understanding what its needs are, what its priorities are, and therefore where it brands itself. And then we start evaluating a city at two levels. The first level, so the circle in the middle, is the level of infrastructure. So how mature is the infrastructure of the city? The second level is that of the services. So how mature are the services that you have in maintaining and managing the infrastructure? And once we start looking at that, we start identifying the gaps in each city. So these are the gaps. We can see whether the gaps are at the level of the infrastructure, or whether the gaps are in the level of the way the infrastructure is being managed. And we can go then towards concrete projects which have relevance for a city. So a city may be, and not all gaps are equal. Some gaps reflect the needs and priorities of the city. Some gaps are just because we may have to focus on them because the city may have budgetary constraints, because the city may be at a certain point in its election cycle. Maybe you have already made some promises to your constituents and you have 2 or maybe 3 years to deliver them. So all of these constraints are taken into account to understand which gaps are the ones that we need to focus on. So the gaps that you see which have the bold outlines are the gaps in this case which we focus on in terms of projects. And ENGIE recognizes that it doesn't do everything. It may be that the gaps are related to sectors or domains that ENGIE has absolutely no activity in. And there we just say, well, thank you very much. It was wonderful talking with you. Let's keep the conversation going, but I think we can help you find new partners for these specific activities. However, to the extent that ENGIE can indeed support the city, so that's where we come saying, okay, well, we have got certain businesses that could be of relevance to you. And ENGIE's services, ENGIE's solutions are at 3 different levels. The first level is that of infrastructure, and where we have infrastructure businesses in energy, in mobility, in district heating and cooling, in public lighting, and in video surveillance and security. The second level is that of our services businesses. So we have services businesses that help maintain and manage this infrastructure, and we also have some very specific services propositions. The third level is the digital level. And digital for ENGIE isn't just digital for its own sake. Our digital solutions are those which help us optimize the CapEx spend on infrastructure and which help us improve the efficiency of the services that we deliver. So these are really strong propositions, either to be used directly by the client, or in some cases, they can be useful for ENGIE's own businesses. And I will help you, I will illustrate a few examples shortly. So if I just summarize a few key figures that ENGIE has in its solutions for cities. We already own and operate about more than 50,000 electric charging stations for electric and for natural gas-based vehicles globally. We deliver, on average, a 30% reduction in the energy consumption of cities. We manage over 1.2 million lighting points. We operate 55 transport networks. We have over 20 gigawatts of renewables capacity installed, and we operate close to 300 district heating and cooling networks in Europe for sure, but also now in the Middle East via our participation in Tabrid, and also in the US and in other parts of the world. We operate over 600 cities security systems via video surveillance and also via our command and control centers. And finally, we do all of this over 70 countries globally. So now we have launched a program called Better Cities Today. The idea of this program is to show you not just what we are about to do and what we are going to do. It's not just dreams. It's solutions that we have already delivered in cities. And we are speaking not only of technological proofs of concept, but commercial solutions at commercial scale. So without further ado, let me end my presentation with a short video that I would invite you to see. And hopefully it should play now. Thank you. So you don't need to wait for the future. ENGIE is here for you today.
Thank you very much, Amit. And now we're running out of time. So please, Annie, you have the floor. Sorry for the time limit.
Yeah, it's a pity because I'm very talkative, but I will do my best. My presentation.
With the presentation.
Help. I only have to push.
Okay.
So good afternoon. I told you already that I'm working for Nexans, leader in cabling industry, but today we will talk about charging station, which is a new business. We are working on it since some years now. Okay, I will hurry up. Already. So the topic of today, our target is the city, or more specifically what is around the city and the urban side, rural side of the city, sorry. Like Amit said it, we also listen to the city, but in that case we're more listening to the territory, and I've invited on stage the mayor of the city of Le Mans. He recently extended his competency field around the city because he took the lead of the Métropole Le Mans-Sarthe, which covers 106 communities. So let's listen to him. He's not there, so it's really a pity. Okay, so we will not listen to him. I mean, there is a video, but no? Okay. So, and the problematic of these people is that in this rural area or around the periphery, you don't have collective public transport. And for the people, it's really difficult to manage this. What I would like to share with you is an action research we have been carried on with a group, a consortium, a few years ago in the region of Normandy. So it's based in the Pays du Bocage. You have the city here of Flers. It's a pole of the Normandy. And we had a 9-month field survey by a team of sociologists from the University of Caen that's been studied the use and the practices of the mobility in these rural territories, and practicing more than 130 face-to-face interviews. We had 3 types of territories explored. The first one is a low-income district inside the city of Flers. The second one is a hamlet in the close periphery of Flers. It's about 3 kilometers. And the next one, it's in the rural area. It's in this circle around the periphery, and the city is a small city of more than 1,000 people in Bellouan. So here are the main outcomes of this study. We wanted to assess what is the cost of mobility in these rural or peri-urban territories. There are three types of cost: an economical cost. So if you look here at to the average income of a family, it's the average income of each family in each sector. So in the rural area, you see also what is the weight, the very huge weight of the mobility for these people and in this region. And you see also some inequalities because the distance between home and work are very much different, especially for the inhabitants from the social neighborhood and the rural area. The cost is very high, and for them it's vital to drive. On the other side, if the city tries to deploy some services to compensate this dependency to the individual vehicle, it's very expensive. You have some services named on-demand transport that are deployed by the local authorities, but for each line they have to expense about 200 €, per line. So the cost of mobility is huge for the individual and it's huge for the collectivity. There is also an ecological cost, maybe not known enough. As say the people we interviewed, most of the time, and due to the fact that the income are very low and the dependency to the mobility and the car is very high, they have old cars, and those cars are not the most efficient. So it's also known that inhabitants of the rural regions emit 2 times more CO2 than the ones that are living in the urban areas for the reason I already explained. There is also a social cost. The dependency of the individual vehicle increases the social vulnerability and creates situations of isolation with associated psychopathology. And these people from the rural and social neighborhood are assigned to their territory. That means that they are not able to go out easily due to the cost of mobility. That's why we thought, when we have been starting working on electromobility, there was here a way to seek for positive disruption by deploying car sharing adapted to this territory in these regions. The principle is the following. We are working with a partner that has been developing a platform of car sharing on the web portal. So this platform is directly in connection with our charging station. And so the people can use, close to their house, they can use a shared vehicle of different typology. It can be used in 2 different modes, individual, but the best and the preferred mode, of course, is also pool sharing. I will explain the different type of uses. You can have it directly on the business side in a loop. For professional uses, you can combine pendular moves between homework use for professional use during the day and back to the station shared in the evening. And you can use it, for any kind of other usage, to go to the city or to move to get out of your territory. CLEM has also developed specific services to stimulate the solidarities, like functions SoliDrive, where someone from your territory can drive you to the city with the car shared by everybody. So here we also have been exploring the reaction, I mean, the reaction of the people towards the new mobility. I don't have so much time to talk about it, but of course there are some resistance because the representation and the relationship the people have to their car in these territories is so strong and huge that there are some fears. But I would like to show you some now return on experience that Clem shared with us. So you see that, yeah?
Could you please drop up? Sorry,
I'm finished. So you can support the disruption by an appropriate communication and incentives. And due to social influence, you see that the subscription are step-by-step growing, showing that this type of services can have a future and solve a lot of cases. So I conclude on this because I don't have time anymore. Sorry for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annie. Sorry for the time. So we have 5 extra minutes, and I would like to gather 2 or 3 questions from the audience. There is a micro there, so please, if you have a question, try to come close. There is also this technological advancements for questions. So please, if you come close to the micro, identify yourself, introduce yourself, and try to formulate a very straight question. Are there any questions in the audience, from the audience?
Hello. Is it okay? I'm Olga Okumuş. I'm in charge of the energy program of the Union for the Mediterranean. And today I'm here because Union for the Mediterranean is exploring how to support better cities' energy transition. So my question is very easy because in the Mediterranean, our city's budget is very restricted. So in terms of like efficacy and affordability, do you have any work on this area? So affordable solution are the solution for the cities in our region. So any work on like not the big cities, but cities with restricted budget? Thank you.
I will, if there are no other questions from the audience, I will just pick up one of the questions that have been voted through this technological system, and then we kind of answer. So there is a very interesting question. I'm just going to read it straight. Like, with rapidly changing and improving technologies, how do you choose your basic infrastructure to be flexible to upgrade? So I just, who would you like to start from the panel to pick up one of the questions or both of them?
Let me take a stab at the questions, and then I'll ask my fellow panelists to complement what I said. Thanks once again. I think the questions are very interesting. From ENGIE's perspective, we develop and we deploy solutions that are indeed commercial. So these aren't just technological proofs of concept, they're commercial. We respond to tenders, and therefore we are forced to be competitive in our tenders when we deploy our solutions. So on the cost side, as we can see technologies grow cheaper and cheaper, especially on solar PV, on wind, but also on batteries and on LED lighting. We see the impacts of these technologies being felt in the valuations of the tenders that we see. So therefore, we are forced to be increasingly very, very competitive. Now, there's another element of helping cities with restricted budgets, which is to structure your contracts in such a way, to structure your tender responses in such a way that you alleviate the pressure on public finances, which means that you have outcome-based contracts where companies like ENGIE, we take on the risk of delivering certain solutions. So we take the risk that we will reduce your energy efficiency, we'll reduce your energy consumption by say 25 or 30% or 40%. We will reduce your fuel consumption by a certain amount. We will improve your traffic congestion. We will increase the luminosity of your lights by a certain amount. So we are gradually moving more and more towards outcome-based contracts, where we put our money where our mouth is and make sure that the solutions that we offer are those that A, help reduce your burden, and B, that help secure the results for your deployments.
Yeah, so at Nexans, I will answer for the solution we developed for charging station that are evolutive. And what I would advise you as well is that you choose open protocol solution so that you can interoperate it in the future with different supervision system. And what is important as well, and that's why so we developed that you have a supervision that enable to upgrade the software, the embarked software in the solution in a remote way, because we know that the standards will evolve. So if you want to make it evolutive, and if you want to avoid to invest in 2 or 3 years from now again in a new solution, I would suggest to do it that way.
Francisco.
Sí, me ha llamado la atención la pregunta sobre el tema del Mediterráneo. Málaga es una ciudad mediterránea con presupuestos reducidos y presión fiscal reducida, la más baja de todas las capitales de España en cuanto al IBI. ¿Qué creo que hay que recomendar? Por ejemplo, tarifas progresivas de agua. No cuesta dinero y la gente ahorra el agua. Nosotros hemos reducido un 30 o un 40% casi el consumo de agua, y eso en consumo energético es muy importante. Y además, desde el punto de vista del costo, no supone un tema a pactar con los consumidores, lógicamente. Reductores de flujo en electricidad. Tenemos un 70% de la red beneficiado de ese tema. Se amortizan 2-3 años. Una inversión perfectamente sostenible. El LED se dará un poco más en amortizar, 7-8 años. Pero también al final es una inversión perfectamente soportable. O sea que no es difícil plantear financiaciones adecuadas para presupuestos moderados. Y el Mediterráneo tiene la ventaja, aludía a ello, del urbanismo nuestro. Es un urbanismo más compacto. Lo que hay que procurar es tener entonces un mix. O sea, que no sea todo residencial, que podamos tener, y ese es el gran atractivo del Mediterráneo, atraer talento para tener en la sociedad digital edificios de oficinas o parte dedicada a oficinas y evitar los desplazamientos que crean un problema de movilidad que luego cuesta energía y cuesta dinero, evidentemente. Seamos inteligentes en el planeamiento, es lo que quiero decir.
Thank you very much to the panel. Thank you very much to the audience. I just want to wrap up very, very quickly. So we have started this session with the case of Málaga, an example of smart government, how you can change a city in the practice. Then we have moved to Abu Dhabi. I was very intrigued by especially your strategy of increasing local manufacturing as a strategy also to bring down the costs. Then we moved to Madrid. I was really amazed, as I said to Ignacio, also to the world strategy, but also to the inclusion of citizens into this change with the creation of the Mint platform. I think it's very, very important. Then Amit, I was very intrigued by your 3 pillars: decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization, and especially the framework that you put up to identify gaps. That's crucial. If you start with a very good identification, you can identify gaps, plan, and find solution, and then go to the implementation. And then finally, Annie, thank you very much for your presentation. I think this is a very, very peculiar example in France, since pretty much half of the population lives in rural urban areas. So what you are doing with e-mobility in this kind of particular rural/urban areas is very, very interesting. Just to wrap up and conclude, what I would like to stress, from this session, it seems to me that, you always need 3 factors. You need to have a smart private sector working on smart infrastructure projects accompanied by a smart government, as you mentioned in your presentation. Those 3 factors are crucial. When a government creates an adequate framework for infrastructure projects and investments, then everything is certainly easier for the private sector. So thank you very much for attending this session, and I wish you a successful continuation at the Smart City Expo. Thank you.